Oh, hell. Oh, there we are. How are you guys tonight? Just trying to get this set up. Everything in the news and everything been going funky. I thought maybe we could just all have some fun tonight. Share some stories. Just try to, you know, blow off some steam, just kind of find something good and positive. It's been a strange week, just with everything, and I'm not going to go into all that. I really thought about doing a political talk, just the one a year I might do, but I just can't bring myself to do that. Now it's not the time, but just thought I'd go and we could maybe share some funny stories tonight and have some back and forth. And one of these days, I'd like to get some other people on here and just have some fun. That'd be a good time. And I got thinking about some stories from when I was hauling cars. I hauled the dude I was working for. He was just bad. I had this old Kenworth T6, this old Melton truck, had a Caterpillar engine in it, had a 10-speed. And we had a regular 6-car hauler. It was 53 foot. It was a pile, 96 inches wide. You couldn't put anything real on it. We actually, our first trip out to San Diego, we got an Impala stuck on the bottom. I wish I was making that up. We couldn't get it out. It was too narrow. Or we were like, well, we got it in. How do we get it out? And what happened was the mirrors were fixed, but they'd kind of popped in. But if we went back, we would have ripped them off. It was a nightmare. Then this is when I also learned that I would never buy a car sight unseen off eBay. Back in 2001, internet car sales were starting to take off big, and ended up guy out in California pays 68. It was a 69. No, it was a 72. Last year, that body style before they went to the square body. Pays $6,800 for this short bed, and this was in 2001, so I already knew he overpaid. And this was a clapped out farm truck that somebody had built in their high school shop class. They put a 454 in it and headers, and it looked good. It sounded good. Well, they polished that turd. You couldn't keep that thing running. You'd hit bumps, and like the wiring was so wore out, especially in the headlight switch. We'd hit bumps, and the headlights would start to flash and pulse on you as you're going down the road. And almost dropped it. Well, I did actually. We dropped it off the trailer trying to unload it because the gear shift was so wore out, it actually just dropped into reverse neutral. It dropped into gear. But that trailer was a pile. I went and we were always losing wheels on it. Always. We'd just sit there and guy never wanted to spend the money on good wheels. They would just end up he just put Chevy 16.5-inch Chevy 1-ton wheels on this trailer, and we'd just break them out and break them and break them and break them. So yeah, the last trip I had to take a load of retired police cars up to San Francisco. They were getting turned into taxi cabs, and on my way up there, I had a bunch of wheels fall off. That was the first time I ever got a ride in a CHP car, so that was kind of neat. You can't get out of the back of one, I discovered. Yeah. But apparently I'm not supposed to be walking down the I-5 looking for my tires either. So that was a mess. But I think about stories like that a lot. I don't have a whole lot of stories, and just I'm just one of those weird people that has had a lot of weird things happen to him. I don't know if it would be anything really worth writing home about, but it just, like the old song, I got a semi-charm kind of life, I guess, and it's been odd, I'll tell you that. So aside from that, I mean, it's just been a strange week. Uh, Not just news wise, but work wise and everything else. Don't really know what to make of it. Buddy of mine, he quit trucking. He did what everybody talks about. He just all of a sudden one day just sold his truck, sold everything, packed it all up, packed 2 bags, jumped on a bus, went to Houston. Now he's in college. Crazy, but he's making it. You can do it. I actually thought about going down there doing the class with him, honestly. Uh, I don't want to be one of those guys that say trucking ain't what it used to. It ain't what it used to be. I mean, it isn't, but every generation will say that. We're over here in Crawfordsville, Indiana tonight. I'm just decided that I would. It's been a long day. I don't know how many miles I did today. It was well over 6. It says 6:59. Yeah. Seems like I did more. Seems like I should have done more. I'll run out of time. Truthfully, I've got to be in Baraboo tomorrow, and was that 6 hours from here, so not going to get too excited. Load doesn't have to be up there till Monday, and I can just drop the trailer. So go up there tomorrow, and I don't know if I'll go out to Portage or if I'll go stay up there. They built a brand new Quick Trip up there in the Dells with truck parking and all that. Nice place. It doesn't have a Denny's or anything like that, which I wish it did. But it's a nice place. So the Quick Trips up there in Wisconsin are awesome. Really do like them. So that's no kidding. Back in the old days, it was just better to just throw the logbook down and say you didn't do one rather than have them catch you with a fraudulent one. The fine was cheaper. They had a guy there in Oklahoma on the south, the old Davis scale south, was that Davis? South of Oklahoma City. The guy realized it was a non-moving violation and the fine was $4 cheaper than the trip permit. They were making him right because he was going over that scale twice a day. Once loaded, once empty. Realized that they weren't going to sell him a uniform permit, so he'd have to buy a trip permit every day. So he just left a credit card at the scale, and because the overweight fine was $4 or about $20 less than the damn permit. So it was something like it was like it was within a few dollars, and he just did it out of spite, I guess. But yep. Well, he was hauling trash trucks, I guess, or scrap truck or something like that. But they went over it every day, all of his trucks, and they were all overweight. So when we go by, they just write it up, and he'd just pay it right there. That's stubborn right there, but been talking to them about maybe finding some new places to go and new things to do, and we got there's a train over here somewhere. Indiana's an interesting place, but yeah, Forgot what I was going to say. Train knocked me off course when I was a kid. I used to live next to the railroad tracks, the old Santa Fe tracks, and go down to my grandparents' house, and the old Rock Island was down there, and then it became the MKT. But they had the old turntable, the old roundhouse. You could go. I'd go down there and play on the old turntable when I was a kid, and that's back when there was such a thing as free-range children. Late 70s, early to mid 80s. Well, that's gone now, but and the Rock Island there, down there. But then where I live, we have the Santa Fe. But every now and then, about twice a year, you'd see a Burlington Northern train come through, and it was all green and black, and like a bunch of coal cars or something. That was years and years and a couple of decades before they merged. So I'm glad you like watching them. I wonder sometimes. They're just, the videos I make are just goofy. I love the car stuff, but the stuff about life, man, I really want people to be successful. It's, you making money. The hardest lesson I had to learn was you make your money on the front end, but you make a lot more on the back end. It's kind of a double whammy. And you got to surround yourself with the best people, especially in this business, because you get with the wrong people, man, they'll just eat you alive. I see that a lot, and I see that a lot. I did that video about, unqualified drivers last week before last. I'll put that out, and that right there has been how do I put this diplomatically? Back in the 80s and 90s, and when I started driving, people south of the border were kind of a problem, but they weren't the problem that they weren't the illegals we should have been watching. The illegals we should have been watching were the ones coming in from the northern border, coming in through like Blaine, Washington, and coming in through Detroit and Montreal and all that into New York. Might be. And they really didn't start becoming a real problem till about 15 years ago. And I remember when Clinton signed NAFTA into effect, suddenly it's like all the business dried up. I was living in El Paso at the time, and I watched El Paso die overnight. One of the things we're seeing with freight, though, is freight starting to pick up again. They've gotten a lot of drivers off the road. They've got a lot more to get off the road. They're all keep threatening us, saying prices are going to go up, but I said prices have never gone down. They just found somebody to haul it cheaper. I mean, you're going to broker it at what you always brokered it for, and you're going to put it out for what you always put it out for, and then the difference is yours. If you broker it out at $2.50, $3 a mile, and somebody's stupid enough to haul it for 85 cents a mile, as a broker, hell, I'd let them do it. But as a driver, I can see where this is a problem. I went and I think the market's getting ready to correct itself here soon, and I think we're going to start seeing a shift, and I think things are going to get better, but things are going to have to get a little rougher before they get better. I'm not one of those guys that wants to get in, talk about, fearful about freight rates and this and that and the other thing, because a lot of this stuff, what we see is just fear mongering out here. They're trying to put the fear of God in everybody so they can get people to, it's just a haul freight cheaper. Truthfully, right now, you almost need to be hauling it for a minimum of $1.50, $1.60. I mean, if you're hauling this stuff for, $1.35, $1.40, you're just going broke. And I know a lot of these lease program guys that are doing this. Oh my goodness, these guys are. It's rough. And I don't want to hash into any of that lease stuff again. We've been over that a lot. Do got a new project at the house though. I bought an '88 GMC that I'm going to be working on. It's the first year of the OBS truck, and it's funny. I had it years ago. I actually bought it years ago. And my neighbor was looking for a truck, so he turned around and bought it for me, and then he drove it, and you've seen in the background of some of my videos, well, fuel pump went out, and it sat for a couple of years, and he's like, you want to buy that old truck back? So I bought it back for $100 less than I sold it to him for. I put a new fuel pump in it, and hopefully we'll have it running here soon. I got it to fire up. You spray a little ether down it, and she barks off. So it's got that weird what's that throttle body injector setup, and that was so popular in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. But that ought to be a fun project. I'm going to do that. We'll see if we can't get that all dolled up, and I can get that dolled up, and hopefully we can get some good mileage out of that. I like old cars like that. I was actually looking for a square body. That video I did about that marketplace truck, that was just what a disaster. That's why I tell people, if you're going to go out and look at cars, you gotta go out and look at them, or send somebody out that you trust to go out and look at them. So we're just trying to have a little fun tonight and see what's going on. Anybody have any questions or comments or anything like that? I didn't really, this is just more of an impromptu thing, so I just kind of went ahead and just went live. I didn't know if I was going to do it tonight or not, but I did. Like I said, we're over here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Be in Baraboo tomorrow night, and hopefully Monday night we'll be in Sioux Falls or Beersford, back in South Dakota. Got 25 hours and 49. I don't know what's going to happen to me after this. Boy, this place is a laugh a minute. It's old McClure's. If you ever come to the Crawfordsville, they got that old McClure's there, and used to have a Roman Nobles pizza. Used to have some stuff around here. Most of that's gone now. Basically, about all you got in there worth eating is some pizza. Starting to feel like I should have had a topic for tonight. Like I said, I thought about doing a political show, but no, I just don't want to do that. That's not what this channel's about, and I know that politics will seep into it from time to time, but it's best that it's just best that it doesn't, for the most part. I do know that as the channel's grown, I've had to do the one thing that I swore I'd never want to do, and I've had to censor a little bit. Some of these people are just nasty, rude, disrespectful, screaming, yelling, cursing. And truthfully, the algorithm from YouTube will actually remove a lot of this without me even seeing it. I'll find a hidden comments I didn't know that were there that were just some of the most vile things I've ever read. And I have the internet. So, yeah. People, I wish people would be more kind to one another, honestly. But people are people. And most people operate in their own selfish interests. Which in a lot of cases isn't as bad as it sounds, but in a lot of cases is self-destructive for the people around them. Part of the problem is a lot of these people don't care. Anyhow, so like I said, we got a video coming out tomorrow, and I got another one in the can I'm working on, and I got to get another one started here soon. And realize I've been doing this for about 6 years and haven't missed a week. I was talking to Red about this today, and I talked about her about this the other day, and we give him this 6 years, and I'm gonna give this maybe another year and see what happens. I mean, it's done a lot better than I thought it would. But sometimes I just feel like I run out of things to talk about. I try to add some interesting stuff, some of my hobbies and things like that. I really, when I started this, I really wanted to do automotive, and I wanted to do firearms. And the YouTube algorithm is, the YouTube algorithm is very odd when it comes to things firearm related. What do I think of the Utah incident? I think it was egregious. It was awful. But I think the part that makes me the angriest isn't what happened. It was what happened after. You see all these dickheads on social media. I don't agree with what happened, but, and you're like, you should have just stopped there. Because the next thing that comes out of their mouth is going to be just a level of jackassery that you don't want to listen to. And, going over it, I mean, you've got 2 kids and a wife that saw their husband and father killed right in front of them by a self-righteous little twit. The disconnect is real with these people, and now a certain segment of government is saying, "Oh, well, now we just need to calm down and sit back and talk about this." It's like, "Oh, really? I mean, the last guy that was sitting back, relaxed, talking about it, you shot." So, when I was in the military, we had a saying that when they send guns after you, the talking's over. So, is the talking over? I don't know, but I think it was a horrible, horrible thing, and human life is, the taking of human life, whether you take it violently or whether you take it through the electric chair, is something that you have to take very seriously. This is not something that you take casually. It's not a party. It's not anything to celebrate. It's not anything to have fun. It's the symbol is it's a breakdown. Something went wrong. on many different levels for, one person to be dead and one person to be strapped into a gurney waiting to die. There was something, a whole series of events that went just very, very wrong. This is why you don't celebrate when people die. And you don't celebrate when people are put to death in the electric chair. You just don't celebrate it. It's an awful thing that happened, Now, don't get me wrong, the guys that go to the electric chair, they fully deserve to do it. They fully deserve to be there. But you shouldn't be happy about it. You're just ending the life of somebody who brought misery on so many different people. Yet he's gone and the misery remains. It's something that you can't undo. You don't celebrate these things. You don't make fun of them. I can understand people not liking somebody or not liking their position, but you sit there and ask them why, and they spout dogma that they don't understand. They're just hollow echo chambers, spouting a bunch of mantra that they're told to spout. They have, if you dig deeper into their core beliefs, you find out they don't have any. And that's sad. That these people have come to this. Now, a lot of people, when a lot of them will eventually get somewhere, but a lot of them won't. And like Jesus said, he wanted us all to love each other, so they killed him. Martin Luther King said, I dream of a world where we can all live together in harmony, so they killed him. You see a pattern. Evil is real in this world, and I really didn't want to talk about this too much, but evil is very real. It doesn't need a rhyme. It doesn't need a reason. It doesn't waste its time on people it already has. Its sole purpose is to kill and destroy and create chaos. That's what it does. One of the most profound Bible verses, I remember me and my father talking about this, was when the story of Cain and Abel, when Cain was before God and God rejected his offering. And Cain was mad. He was upset at God. He was upset at his brother. And God said, "Hey, Cain, what's wrong?" And Cain was mad. And he said, "Evil lies at your doorstep. Its desire is for you. You must master it." And that's one thing we've failed to do, is we've failed to master ourselves, and we've failed to master evil. And I'm not going to say I'm a saint. I have done a lot of horrible things in life, but at the same time, I've worked to better myself. I'm just disgusted that it took as long as it did. I think Jordan Peterson said it the best when he said, kind of the same thing I said. He says, in order to be a man, you must become a monster, and then you must learn how to tame it. And what we have right now are a bunch of weak men running around, just emotionally driven, being blown by every gust of wind. They're blown to the east, they're blown to the west. They have no base, they have no foundation, and they're just sitting there latching on to whatever is current and trending at the moment. And that's a problem. But so yeah, that's kind of a long way of me talking about what my thoughts on that was, and this is something that a problem that I've noticed for quite some time when it comes to uh, people, and it's not just the youth; it's my generation. A lot of them have just given up and said, "Well, screw it. If they're going to do it, I'm going to do it." Uh, you just if you let the world take you, you're going to go into this. You're going to go out of this world the same way you went into this world. You know. I don't talk about my faith a whole lot because this isn't a real faith-based program. But I'll tell you this, there is a fight out there between good and evil. There's a lot of wickedness out there. And it's our job to stop it. Somebody asked me the other day why this thing is allowed to happen or why it happens, and I said, because this country, there used to be a bar. It didn't matter who you were. There was a bar, a certain acceptable level of society that you were supposed to meet. And the problem was the level of society and the certain bar you were supposed to meet had accountability written into it. You were accountable. And then, of course, we were self-policing to a point, so everybody else held each other accountable. Peer pressure, there was a lot of positive peer pressure. Positive peer pressure is an incredible tool for good. People say peer pressure is bad. No, peer pressure can be a very good positive thing when used properly, because it doesn't allow people, it forces people to rise or get left behind. And when you're not required to rise anymore and you're not made accountable, why would you? You're getting all your needs met. You're getting everything you want. Why should you? And I've always said that the most motivated people in this country that founded this, they were hungry. They were adventurous. They didn't allow evil to stop them. They took their ideas and they went forward. And then the people that sought to hold them back, or the people that sought to destroy what they wanted to do, or the people that just were of no interest or use for them, they left behind. And that's one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn in life, was sometimes you just have to leave people behind. And it doesn't matter who they are. It's amazing that when somebody is holding you back and they've held you back for so long, when you finally cut them loose, you can actually feel the physical weight come off you. It's a wonderful feeling, yet it's a horrible feeling that it happened that way. If people are holding you back, or people are negative, or people are sucking your energy, it might be time to leave these people. It doesn't matter who they are. I've always said this before, and this sounds horrible to say this, but nobody will treat you any worse in your life than family. It shouldn't be that way, but it's true. Your family will steal from you. Your family will abuse you. Your family will take advantage of you. It shouldn't be that way. Families are supposed to stick together, but everybody wants to have the loyalty and the bonds towards families. And I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of horrible family. I got a lot of horrible family members. We all do. So yeah, you get to an age, basically an age of accountability, to where you have to figure out what you're going to do, because everybody's like, oh, I'm a kid. No, It doesn't matter what the law says. You're going to be accountable to somebody in this life for everything that you do. You're going to answer for everything you do. You know, whether this life or the next, you're going to answer. And whether you straighten up or not, when your ticket's punched, it's going to get punched. And if you're not ready when your ticket punched, hey, guess what? You're done. You know, it's an unpleasant thought, but it doesn't have to be. So, wow, I didn't mean to ramble on about that for the last 15 minutes. Just some of my own personal views on life. Life is exciting. And if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be interesting. I came to a weird conclusion the other day that a lot of these people that with these first world problems, you're like, these aren't problems at all. Yet for these people, they've had lives that were so easy that these actually are real problems to them. I'm not saying they're good problems, and they're ridiculous a lot of times, but they are real problems to these people because it's human nature to want to fix things, to problem solve, to if you have a life that's 100% free of problems and worry, you have a very boring life. Well, it might be exciting at first, but I'm sure you'll be pretty bored at the end of it all. I have been asking about I'll get back to trucking here, but I have been asking about some different loads here and there and try to shake it up, and maybe I can take you guys along to do something different. I haven't, good grief, I haven't been to Florida in years. We don't go to Florida here. It just said they had too much trouble getting freight back out. I know we got 2 or 3 drivers, excuse me. We got 2 or 3 drivers that live down there, but they pretty much, we might find them something down there, but then they usually have to bounce back up into Georgia or Alabama to go. And I was hoping for something a little more East Coast-ish. Because, well, you know, I actually kind of like running the East Coast. It's just a different world up there. It's a change of pace. I really don't care much for running Washington and Oregon and Idaho. I ran that a lot. Oh, good grief. I've been all over those 3 states. And get me wrong, the Cascades are some of the most beautiful mountains you'll ever see. You know, and I've done Stevens, and I've done Snoqualmie, and I've done, you know, 4th of July and all of those. And it seemed like every time I had to go over those, though, it was always the middle of the night in January. My luck was always superb on that. You know, I actually really did enjoy California. I just hated the drive out there. Never was a fan of Arizona or New Mexico. There's no color out there. Just hilly with no color, and then you just kind of have to. But once you get past Bakersfield, it all picks up. So, kind of sad news. Was looking at Google Earth, and the house I lived in out there in Pasadena when I was a kid out in California, our old neighborhood burned down. So I'm glad I got to see it last time I was out there. I got to go see it, and saw the house I was born in and the other house we lived down there in Altadena. So yeah, kind of sad to see it all burn down. Those wildfires out there are no joke. I hope the courthouse didn't burn down, because that's the only place I can get a birth certificate. Oh, Don't hit me. So yeah, but I had a lot of fun out in LA, and back in the day, you really could have a lot of fun out there. The fun's gone. Yeah, the California I remember doesn't exist anymore. Just like the Colorado I remember doesn't exist anymore. So, oh, good. Santa Claus pulled in next to me. Uh, but I've been trying to find different places to go and different uh, routes to go, and just different things to do, just because you kind of want to have a variety. That's part of why we drive truck. Uh, I do a lot of the same stuff. I know where my money is, and I'm getting to the age now to where I just want to go to bed and things hurt a lot. But there are times when I really do want to, bust it down into the Carolinas and into Georgia and just kind of, play Dukes of Hazzard down there. I do love running I-20. I always have a good time down on I-20. I don't know why, but I always do. Going through Atlanta always kind of blows, but never cared much for I-20, through Texas or Louisiana. But it seems like once you get on the east side of Birmingham, I always have a good time all the way out to the Carolinas in it. Always had a pretty good time with it, so I will never get used to I-95 though. North Carolina, it seems like I-95 in North Carolina has just been under construction since the day I started driving. I'll tell you that I-20, as you go out of Georgia into South Carolina, that road construction, if it was a child, it could vote now. Those cones have been there as long as I've been driving. I mean, that road construction. That's a petrified forest right there. So, it's like they just tore it up and stopped. It's kind of like that in Indiana on 8094. I remember when they started redoing all of that 294th all the way to the state line and widened it out, and somehow didn't make it any better. What was it? Spent like 5 years doing it, and then I remember it was all done, and we were all happy. We just blew through there for a week and a half, and then like 3 weeks later, suddenly Indiana starts throwing cones down. This was in 2004, I believe. No, they started it, and then I'd gone through from Gray to Jim Palmer and then to Decker. When I was in Decker, they finally got it done. It took that long. And then like I was all happy it was finally done. And then suddenly Indiana threw the cones down. And that was 2011. And those cones that are on I-94, that whole row of cones from the border up, those are the same cones that have been there for 15, 20 years. Same cones. So, yeah, good times. So anybody got any comments or anything like that? Anything? I wasn't going to stay on too late tonight. This was just a real impromptu kind of thing. So if anybody's got any comments or anything like that, see what I can do. I can answer. So I wasn't going to do it much more than about 45 minutes, an hour tonight. Just wanted to see if I have some fun tonight and see what everybody was doing, and just kind of hang out here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Good times. was gonna go over to the Pilot, but it seems like the free spots along the back are the ones you want because they're level. But like the pay spots and all the other spots, man, it's like if you don't park right, man, you're gonna roll out of your bed. I mean, everything is on about a 20-degree angle, no matter where you're at. I mean, good grief, going from driving up around from the fuel pumps back up to parking, you'll burn out a clutch trying to get up that hill. I'm exaggerating. It's steep. Come out of Grandis, Arkansas one time, and I looked at the map and I was like, oh, I could just take this 270 over. I think it was 270, or was it 271? There's a 9% grade. And that old 450 horse Peterbilt that Decker put me in with that 13 speed. No. I saw that hill, and the guy behind me, he just stopped. He was like, oh crap, he's going to go for it. I wound that truck up as fast as I could go, and I started hauling. It was a 9% grade. I started going up it. You could hear the clutch just howling. And I'm dropping gears 2 at a time going up the hill. And that guy in that pickup truck, he stayed down at the bottom of the hill the whole time. He was local. He stayed local, or he must have been local, because he stayed down at the bottom of the hill. When I got up, I was in I had one more gear, which was the granny gear left, and you could just smell. Oh, I smoked that clutch, and I was like, yeah, coming out of those chicken plants down there in western Arkansas along the Oklahoma border. Yeah, that's a good time. So IFTA, International Fuel Tax Agreement. Basically what it is every state you go through, you have to pay a road tax. And so that's why a lot of times when you get a fuel routing with a company, like you're a company driver, they want you to pick up 30 gallons here and 40 gallons here and 60 gallons here and 50 gallons here. And that blows. But what they're trying to do is pay the road tax in each state to where everything balances out at zero. But the nice thing is now with IFTA, rather than having to send them checks and hope you don't overpay, if I buy all my fuel in Illinois, I overpay the road tax in Illinois, so all that overage ends up going into a like a pot, and it'll pay for the fuel tax in the other states. Like I don't fill up in Minnesota at all. I put fuel in my truck once in Minnesota in the last 5 years. Well, except with the exception of number one in the winter. I get that at Quick Trip there in Austin. I get the premium if it gets too cold when I'm going through there. There's a law in Minnesota on the books that all the fuel in Minnesota has to be a minimum of 20% bio. And so that's a minimum, it's not a maximum. And I was talking to the guy at Interstate Diesel about this, and he said, well, that explains it. I said, what's that? He said, the level of fuel-related problems we have with Minnesota trucks. So the biodiesel is just screwing up a lot of trucks. But if I fill up in Wisconsin and I drive through Minnesota and I don't buy any fuel in Minnesota, I still have to pay the road tax in Minnesota. So I pay the road tax in Wisconsin for every mile I move there. And that's the nice thing about the E-Log, is the E-Log will track every mile I do in the state. So, but if I overfill there, say like I only need 30 gallons to pay the road tax, but I put 100 gallons in, well, I have an overage now. So then that overage will cover Minnesota. We used to do that for Missouri too. it got to the point where, yes, you could pay real cheap, get real cheap fuel in Missouri, but you weren't paying any road tax, so you'd end up paying it on the back end. And if you have like a good fuel card, you'll be shocked when you see these signs like Indiana here. Like, what is it, like $4.35 a gallon right now? It is $4 a gallon in Illinois right now, and Iowa's like $3.85 or something like that. But with my discount, I checked the discount sheet on the computer, on the phone, and a lot of times I'll actually get fuel cheaper in Illinois than I will in Iowa. That's no kidding. Now, I would rather fill up in Illinois because I pay more road tax in Illinois. So the fact that I pay more road tax in Illinois means more of that money that I spent on fuel is going to pay my road tax. So it's actually gets a bigger return. One of these days, you're right, one of these days I'm going to have to do a video on it and just talk about the whole mess. It sounds complicated. It's not that complicated once you get used to it, but there's just a lot to it. Truthfully, that's why for what it costs to get an authority lady or a guy or somebody to do your authority and somebody to do your road tax and somebody, it's worth $100 a week. Trust me on that, or $100 a month or whatever you want to pay for it. Absolutely worth it, because they take care of all your billing, all your permits, all your fuel tax. So yeah. And truthfully, I've said this before, the only reason I don't ever get my own authority is just because the insurance is so outrageous. I mean, the insurance for trucks is absolutely outrageous, and it's partly due to these nuclear verdicts that I think all of them have been overturned, actually. And uninsured drivers, and I know a lot of these foreign drivers too. It's just, and then the fact that they can just gouge us on top of it. Don't you know we make all the money in the world? I did the math one time, and if I got my own authority, my insurance would go from, it would be, what do we figure it out, between $1,200 and $1,400 a month. I pay a fraction of that now because of the company I have my truck leased to. So, but someday that may not be the case. We're going to start really looking in, maybe this spring we're going to do some truck shopping. I'm really considering looking for a new truck. This has been a good truck. Hasn't been the most comfortable truck, but we are at the point now to where I'm going to have to start putting some real money into it. I've got a couple of sensors that are out. No big deal. Like my rear axle differential temp sensor is fluctuating like it's going out, and the water in my fuel sensor has been it's been nuts. So it's just, we're at that time, we're at almost 691,000 miles on it, and these things break, so nothing new. So, well, it's been about an hour. It's been 54 minutes and 20 seconds right now. So I've just had this last week, I've just had to find things to listen to and stream that just make me laugh. Cranked out some nice mellow music. I don't know if it'd shock y'all to know I'm a big Herb Alpert fan. Like a little jazz every now and then. I'm also a Waylon fan, so go figure. Listened to a bunch of Norm Macdonald. He was a funny dude. He's unfortunately got cancer and passed. But I heard a joke today that he told that was it was so brilliant that it went over the audience's head. And he was talking about his Uncle Hector. And he said, as he was talking about his nationality, he said, and I need to talk about my Uncle Hector. And the guy says, was your Uncle Hector Polish? He says, no. He says, not Polish. He says, no, he's from my cousin's side. That's brilliant. So, yeah. I love Easter eggs like that. The movie Zoolander had probably the best joke ever that nobody got. Me and my ex were the only ones that laughed at it because we were the only ones old enough to get it. It was a synchronicity joke. If you want to see it, if you're my age, look up Zoolander synchronicity. It's for such a stupid premise, it was probably one of the most brilliantly written movies I've ever seen. I mean, it was very brilliantly written, but you have to be brilliant to be that stupid. I mean, somebody wrote that. Well, it was a stupid movie, but whoever wrote it was really good. Anyhow, there ain't nothing else, man. I think we're gonna pack it up. Thanks for coming out. Like I said, just an hour tonight. We'll pack it up, and I think got a new video. It'll be out in the morning. So you guys keep it straight, keep laughing, just enjoy yourselves, and hey, if you're out there killing it, have a good time with it, man. Just make your money and enjoy life.